quick story around ACC. I saw this today and I kind of, but it just feels like a bit of a kick in the guts for people. I understand motorbikes going up because obviously huge number of accidents. If you fall off your bike, it's ACC. However, I'm just asking this now, maybe I'll Google this. Didn't this government promise no new taxes? If it did, isn't an increase in ACC?
It's completely different. It's a levy, not a tax.
Right,
it's a levy.
Pay in ACC levies is going up across the board. A person earning the median wage of $70K right now pays $973. By 2028, that rises to more than $1,100, up $140 over 3.
Now look, it's $3 a week. The honest answer is no one's going to die over $3 a week. But remember, this government, cost of living, prices down, tax cuts, this is just something else that'll go into these tax cuts that they got elected on doing, and it's a little bit more when we're currently still in a cost of living. Imagine, look, I know I said this already tonight, imagine if Labor increased a fee prior to the election that put $3 to $5 a week onto people. You'd just go, they would have been apoplectic about the cost of living and putting more fees on these poor New Zealanders, and it's exactly what they're doing. It's exactly what they're doing.
3 years. The minister says the 5% increase per year is needed as the average cost per claim goes up. The levy on a petrol car, now $42, goes up to $64 over the next 3 years. The electric vehicle levy rises from $42 to $122, almost triple.
Now explain this to me. How are we going to cause, how is EVs going to cause more fees at ACC than petrol motors? How is this possible?
So there's a couple of things with that, Pat. The average age of the EV fleet is much, much younger than the average age of the petrol fleet, which means that they have more safety features built in, autonomous driving, autonomous braking, more airbags, all of that stuff. So there is no argument to say that the increase in the levy is because EV drivers end up more injured or do more harm in an accident. It's stupid.
And it's also the number of EVs out there. It just means there'll be such a compared to petrol cars, that the amount that EV drivers will contribute to having ACC to pay something would be minuscule compared to. But if it's car for car, how is an EV going to cause twice as many fees to ACC than a petrol car? But this government is just trying to get people out of EVs. We'll tell you more about this through the story.
In cost. Motorbike owners now paying around $300 will be paying $532.
That's a big jump. So that's basically doubling. That's a big jump. Now, there could be an argument because obviously, as we said before, a motorbike rider comes off, there's ACC all day long. But that's a big jump.
Also announced an independent review of ACC focusing on claims management. With more on the changes, here's senior political reporter Benedict Collins.
Hi, Benedict.
An accident in an ice hockey match earlier in the year left this builder with a broken leg and ankle.
Learning to walk again has been an interesting one post-surgery, but I'm definitely a significant amount better than I was.
You know what these fuckers are going to do, this government, eh? They're going to start taking away ACC for recreational stuff. Did you hear how this started? This guy did his thing ice skating. Nothing to do with work. These guys will be chomping at the bits to say, what? You're out jogging? Sorry, it's only work-related injuries from now on. I don't guarantee it. I wouldn't be surprised. It's about as close as I can get.
He's off work on ACC leave and can't wait to get back on the tools.
Man, I mean, it would be tomorrow if it was up to me, but the doctor's given me till the 31st of December off.
Now ACC levies are going up over the next 3 years to cover rising costs.
We've seen increased growth in the number of people on long-term claims, and we need ACC to lift its performance.
The government's
So what that means is we need fewer people on long-term claims. Now, what Matt Ducey just said is there's a number of people that have been going up on long-term claims. He didn't actually say whether that was right or wrong, anyone was gaming the system. All he's saying is that's not okay because that costs too much. So there's too many people on long-term claims. ACC need to lift their game, aka ACC need to get these people off long-term claims. That's what he's saying.
Rising costs.
We've seen increased growth in the number of people on long-term claims, and we need ACC to lift its performance.
The government's ordered a review to see if the agency could be doing a better job of helping people recover from injuries.
The government has cut programs and roles related to injury prevention.
The Prime Minister was serving up a culinary accident today.
Oh, this is amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Look at that.
Well done. It's about 3 out of 10.
What a shit.
3 out of 10.
With Kiwis struggling with the rising cost
Working
of living,
really hard.
he admits the levy hike.
Yep. And do you remember that's what he did prior to the election as well? For some reason, he likes going to the ice cream parlours. Maybe we know why. We've seen the waistline a little bit, maybe.
Isn't ideal.
No, I acknowledge it is a tough time. New Zealanders rely on ACC. It's a very expensive system, and that is the reality of it, that the costs are greater than, and they need to be passed through. Having said all of that, though, we're unhappy about it.
The cost of regos.
Oh, we're unhappy, New Zealanders. You guys are going to be paying more. Just so you know, we're going to make sure you do it, but we're unhappy about it.
For electric vehicles will be going up substantially.
Why are you putting rates for electric vehicles up so much more than petrol vehicles?
They were not paying for the ACC levy on petrol, clearly because I was electric. It is more of a level playing field for all vehicle users.
So it's a punishment.
But it's not level.
Yeah, it's punishment. What he's saying
He's
is
talking about a
petrol.
level playing field.
Yeah, but he's talking about petrol cars. They pay ACC levy when they buy petrol and when they register their cars. So what he's basically saying is we do not want to encourage, in fact, we want to discourage people from buying EVs.
Okay, so this is something, this goes back to what I said when they brought in road user charges for electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And part of this blame, lean in, friends on the right, part of the blame for this goes to Labour. Okay, there should have been both sides of the aisle talk about bringing in a fair playing field for all passenger vehicles. Okay, road user charges for all, take the tax and the levies off petrol, and that's even at that point. And then you can condense all of this stuff of like, you're in a passenger vehicle, broadly similar, they pay the same ACC levies, they pay the same amount of tax towards maintaining the roads. It's built into the rego, it's built into the road user charges. Cool. And we wouldn't be talking about this because it's stupid and it's very obviously not even.
I just also want to stand in solidarity with my dyslexic brothers and sisters, because as you can see very clearly on this overbridge, it's free Gaza, because they've got their Z the wrong way around instead of free Gaza. So standing in solidarity with my dyslexic brother and sisters.
Oh, no.
Free Gaza.
Buddy.
So, it's okay. It's good. They're giving it a crack.
Motor Industry Association slammed the move, saying it will further undermine EV sales.
All of the actions the government has taken are making it harder and more expensive to use a zero-emissions car at a time when we need more zero-emissions cars.
And the government rejected a proposal to hike the ACC petrol levy of 6 cents per litre. Motorists also pay at the pump. Benedict Collins, One News.
So there's the first part of the story, Chewie. I also want to go to a story from earlier in the week that talks about EV prices have dropped this year about 40% in some cases because no one's buying them. We'll get to that one shortly and tie it into the story. But first of all, your response.
So again, this is part of the problem, that we're in this ugly in-between period that the government could have spent some extra time, left things how they were, and just work out for a whole passenger fleet solution, is that we have some of the fleet measuring their ACC levels per litre consumed, and some of them paying their levy and their registration or their road user charges or whatever, which is like the road user charges are per kilometre travelled. So there's no way to make this fair when it's spread across two different units of measure.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that something that consumes a lot of petrol, let's say a Ford Ranger,
okay,
generates a higher level of ACC claims compared to a Suzuki Swift or a smart car or a Leaf. Like the constantly talking about a level playing field, I think, is more about drawing people's attention to EV users and going, look at these moochers, they've had a free ride for so long.
Yeah.
You know, and those free rides that they talk about, and we saw this from Simeon as well, of the same sort of talk. They were encouragement to lower our emissions. So there was a benefit and payoff to what that were doing, but they just made EV drivers look like moochers, and that's what National went after. Now, if we want to talk about moochers in the passenger vehicle fleet in this country, let's talk about every fucking double cab ute that has never been on asphalt in its life and has, I don't know, sign writing for a florist's or an architect's or that sort of thing. And you've got the fringe benefit tax, and you've got, we've got to take the ute tax off because the utes are the lifeblood. Like, it's not a level playing field. It just isn't. It's spread across 2 units of measure. There's too many ways that they're trying to gather this levy. They should simplify the whole fucking thing and just bite the bullet and do it. It's road user charges for all. Everybody's on the same rate. It's done by the weight of your vehicle, and there you go.
That would hamper EVs as well, wouldn't it? Because they're heavier.
Yeah, but not in the same way. Like they still come into that area of it's a light passenger vehicle.
Yeah, right.
Like they still there isn't an EV out there that busts into the higher category as far as road user charges go, unless it's a fucking semi truck or something. Well, so it's still to be there.
But now that we're talking about it, let's keep going, because this is a part of the story. This time last year, more than 17,000 new battery-powered EVs had been sold. However, just 5,519 had been sold to the end of November 2024. There's definitely some hurt right now in the industry, Brendan Foote, Super Site Director Matthew Foote said. Dealers are blaming the 3 Rs, recession, road user charges coming in, and no more clean car rebate. Let's have a look at this little story. It's only 1:50 and see what they've got to say on TV. This is from earlier in the week, but just to kind of wrap up the story around vehicles. And I mean, we'll talk about range and stuff shortly, but let's just have a look at the story.
It sounds like good news for anyone in the hunt for their next car. Electric vehicle prices have dropped this year, about 40% in some cases. Sam Ollie looks at the...
I think that'd be overall, though. That would include the second-hand car market. I don't think new cars, many of them brand new, would have dropped 40%. I did see a nice little Fiat 500e that was like 30-something as opposed to 50-something. But in general, I don't think the new ones are dropping that much. But we'll see. Let's have a look.
3 reasons why and how long the cost cutting will last.
These new wheels, an early Christmas present.
It feels like a giant go-kart. Like it's just, you put your foot down and it moves immediately.
Prices earlier this year beyond his budget.
But once the price stepped down, it actually started to make a lot of financial sense for me.
That's because dealers have had an oversupply of EVs this year as sales slowed. This time last year, more than 17,000 new battery-powered EVs had been sold in Aotearoa. Sales have since plummeted, just 5,500 in 2024.
There's definitely some hurt right through the industry.
EV dealers are blaming 3 Rs, the recession, road user charges or RUCs coming in, and no more rebate.
Falling demand pushing down prices so much, many EVs are now cheaper than with the rebate.
Distributors have been forced to discount.
Remember we did talk about that, you and I? I asked that question. I wonder if there'll be a drop away and that'll cause them, and it's what's happened.
Them to clear out their stocks.
The price drops up to probably 40% difference.
It's a global trend.
Just quietly though, that didn't seem like a very scientific answer, did it? No, I'll probably give it a whack, maybe around 40%.
We've seen certain manufacturers come to the market this year and cut their tails, cut their losses, and put out cars at thousands and thousands below their cost. simply because their cost of holding those cars was so significant.
Chinese technology is driving rapid changes.
Within 2 years, I think you'll be seeing anything between 800 and 1,000 k's of range.
But will the prices increase too?
Some of those manufacturers are sold out or selling out of that reduced stock, so you see prices return to sort of business as normal next year.
I think I bought it the right time.
Time now to hit the road in the new Christmas present. Sam Ollie, One News.
So the idea of range is a really important question. I mean, I know with mine, I've got a little photo here. I'm around town, Chewie, clicking over 600 k's range, which is what I'm getting out of mine. It's supposed to be 520, but I've taken a photo of it again. So there's 50% gone in my one, 308 k's. That's 616. And that was as I was driving through town. Not, you know how sometimes you start it up the first time, it gives you a false reading sort of thing. So I'm getting over 600 k's range in mine around town fairly regularly. Obviously, I'm going on a big road trip in January, February. We'll see what it does then. But yeah, it feels like, I don't know, it just feels like now's the time to get into it if you can. If you're buying, why would you not buy an EV? Like if you're choosing to buy a new car or go down that path, what would stop you buying an EV? Because range and stuff now is it's a done deal. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Look, I saw that story and I was like, oh, be careful, because you are really seeing the end of range clear outs more than anything. And you are seeing that, I didn't believe it at first, but there was the criticism that because of that rebate, there was both a compression at the top end and an inflation in the middle of prices. Because they were bringing them up because people would essentially claim the rebate. So you might as well just increase your price by 10 grand.
Yeah.
And now that that's gone, you are seeing true competition in the market. I have seen some, like there are cars that were 20, 30, even 40 grand more expensive a year ago. So if you were thinking of doing it, now is definitely a good time. And for all of our talk here in New Zealand of what the government wants to do with EVs, just a reminder, the rest of the world doesn't give a shit what national thinks.
Yeah.
The Chinese are making EVs like it's a mission from God.
And some of the stuff that's coming out is unreal, what's coming out of China.
Yep.
Like I saw the last episode of whatever the new Top Gear was called. I watched the final episode, and Jeremy Clarkson basically said one of the reasons he doesn't want to do car stuff anymore because all cars are boring now. They're all boring. Dude, I watched this car out of China the other day doing a U-turn, and then its back wheel spun the opposite way so it could move, it could crawl its back across to do a tighter U-turn. I'm like, Jeremy Clarkson, if you think this is boring, you are just showing your boomer nature, you POS.